His father was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine twice, by Swedish physiologist Johan Johansson and jointly by the same Swedish scientist and his Danish colleague Leopold Meyer. 3 years after that, he started his research under the supervision of Sir Joseph John Thomson, the Nobel Prize laureate in 1906. He became friends with Albert Einstein and was recognized by the King Christian X of Denmark as a famous football player. So, what was his career path like, and did he ever take any top award? He was lucky enough to start the journey in the very heart of the capital of Denmark, in the Gustmeyers Gård, or Gustmeyers house. The house where he was born and spent his childhood and youth faced Christiansborg Palace. The palace, though, had burned down because of a fire a year before the boy's birth, so the only version he could ever see is the same building we can find today, the third Christiansborg Palace, rebuilt 23 years after the fire, which is now the seat of the Danish parliament. The house where he lived together with his siblings, the elder sister Jenny and the younger brother Harald, often became a hub for scientific community. A man in his 30s who was already a professor of physiology, his father enjoyed gathering the most distinguished minds of Copenhagen at home and discussing science there. The children were always welcome to listen to these talks. Well educated himself, his father took care of his children's development. He quoted portions of Faust for them, took the boys to row along the Christianshavn's canals, and to support him during his football matches. The older of the brothers became interested in the mechanics of how the surrounding things function. So it was he who repaired bikes and watches in the family. It was he who was constantly correcting outdated information in his handbooks of physics. It was he who in his doctoral thesis claimed that the theory of electrons elaborated by Hendrik Lorentz at those times when this young scientist started school could not completely explain the magnetic properties of metals. He went to school at the age of 7, and the only subject he couldn't really cope with was Danish writing. He didn't see much sense in the proposed essay topics and didn't really make it a secret. Like a 21st century student, he enrolled as an undergraduate or a bachelor student at the age of 18. He stayed in the native city where some of the people he had been seeing since the early childhood as father's guests now would become his professors at the University of Copenhagen. He began with the studies of philosophy and mathematics, proceeded with inorganic chemistry, and finally came to physics. He was often experimenting, which caused the whole sets of explosions and shakings in the labs, including that of his father, but then he switched to theoretical studies. After 3 years, he delivered his thesis. In a year, the 23-year-old student won the competition for the best thesis by the Royal Danish Academy of Sciences and Letters and received a gold medal. And in another year, his paper was published in a prestigious British journal, the first journal dedicated exclusively to science. This very year, his younger brother played for the Danish national football team at the Summer Olympics in London and came back with a silver medal. Also this year, the boy's father was awaiting for a decision of the Nobel Committee regarding the 1908 Nobel Prize laureates, but his luck was not that good as his son's. The second year in a row, the prize was awarded to other scientists. After 2 more years of studies, the student successfully defended his master's thesis under supervision of Christian Christiansen, a Danish physicist who had been a member of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences starting from the second year of the Nobel Prize being awarded. He proceeded with the research of the magnetic properties of metals as a PhD student. 2 years was enough for him to write and defend the doctoral thesis named The Electron Theory of Metals. The electron, or a corpuscle, as its original name had been, was a comparatively fresh discovery in particle physics made by a British physicist, Sir Joseph John Thomson. So when the young scientist received a scholarship from the Carlsberg Foundation for further studies abroad, with no hesitation he decided to go to the University of Cambridge in England to study under the supervision of Sir Thomson, already a Nobel Prize laureate for 5 years. Their relations didn't turn out extremely warm. It could be the age difference of almost 30 years, or differences in their scientific views which made an impact. But it was there he met Ernest Rutherford, who was already a Nobel Prize laureate, and Sir William Lawrence Bragg, who together with his father would become Nobel Prize laureates in 4 years. Ernest Rutherford invited the young scientist to continue his postdoctoral studies at Victoria University of Manchester, where Rutherford was the chief of physics. The invited scientist spent there 4 months, and after coming back to Denmark, his position at the University of Copenhagen changed from the unpaid of privat docent to a regular docent. He accumulated the knowledge he gained during the trip to England together with the widely known theories, and published his ideas regarding the structure of atoms in 3 subsequent articles in the year 1913. Physicists of the older generation, Thomson, Rayleigh and Lawrence, did not like the trilogy, where some of the ideas contradicted their own ones, while Rutherford, Hilbert, Einstein, Born and Sommerfeld accepted it as a breakthrough. The following post-war years Niels will spend explaining his atomic theory and establishing his own Institute of Theoretical Physics. He himself benefited a lot from discussions with other scientists, who often represented various countries, and thus was eager to create a place for international scientific discussions in Denmark. His father could never witness the Niels Bohr Institute opening its doors when its director was 36. Neither could he discover Niels finally receiving the Nobel Prize in Physics together with Albert Einstein a year after. Niels would yet be coming to the debates with Albert Einstein. He would yet have to escape the Nazis on a fishing boat to Sweden, live under a different name as a cover in the United States, come back to Denmark and meet some of the top representatives of the Great Britain, Belgium, Sweden, Denmark and even Thailand of those times. Similarly to his father, he would witness his son becoming an Olympic sportsman, but would not live till the day when his another son received his own Nobel Prize in Physics. A matter of genetics, wealth or care and hard work, several generations of the Bohr's family followed their interests and would have many reasons to be proud of their achievements.